Hello and welcome to the Overton Audios podcast. My name's Connor Chadwick.
And I'm Eamon Longman.
And on today's podcast, I'm going to be discussing the new volume, Henry Woodman Into the Multiverse, with Lewis Wheelhouse.
And Connor and Abi are going to talk about Big Finish.
Indeed we are. And of course, thank you to all of our Patreons, Anya Coyle, Peter Scott, TT Productions 23, Chelsea Lagan, Delta Effects, and Joe Eddings. So Eamon, how have you been?
Good. Tired, but good.
We've had quite a busy month, haven't we?
We have.
You've been your shifts have become much more frequent to where you're working. How many days in a row have you worked? Like, what's the longest you've worked in a row?
I worked 11 days in a row.
Oh.
That was fun. I didn't want to climb inside of the pizza oven and to cook myself alive at any point.
Oh, good. How much time do you get off as a result of working on 11 days?
I get 2 days off now.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I got no time off that week.
Oh.
But now I get 2 days off.
Oh, okay.
I get normally Monday and Wednesdays off, which is nice because Mondays is I don't do anything. I just sit at home.
So Mondays and Wednesdays are essentially your weekends.
I go out. Yeah. And then Wednesdays I go out and I buy heaps of shit I don't need, like heaps of Blu-rays.
Fair enough. You'll become the lord of the Blu-rays.
How are you, Cheddars?
Tired, sleep deprived, overworked.
So that's the normal then.
Oh, fair enough. No, but yeah. Basically, there's been a massive surge of work happening, and as a result, we're just being stretched thin at the moment. I haven't been able to do much at all. I've had to call in people very last minute to finish scripts for me. I really have missed making audios for a little while now. It's been a couple of weeks. I think since roughly the 6th of March, I think is specifically the date that we got really, really busy, and we're currently recording this on the 30th, so it's just been a very, very busy time. But things should level out in a couple of weeks, and also I've been trying to push to get things recorded so I can edit. But then what time do I have to edit? It sounds very, very like I haven't really done much for Overton Audios this month. I mean, this is me recording right now. When I don't have any time to record, but here I am, and the monthly vlog is due out tomorrow. I haven't finished editing that. It sounds so thrilling, so much positivity. After last month, I talked about how I'd not been feeling positive, and now I am being overworked again. Hooray! Everyone watched the decline occur.
Cheddars works a lot.
I do. But like I said, in last month's podcast,
I do believe in fairies.
Oh, well, okay, that's good.
I do. That's what all it reminded me of.
Okay, fair enough. But I said in the last podcast and everything, we're going to be rearranging and we make things after this year's releases because we're so close to the end of it now. We've actually had a massive resurgence in being able to produce things. So as a result, we're really close now. I think I've only got something like 5 or 6 scripts to write until everything for this year is written. It's just the editing and writing process now, and that's when I need to have time to sit down and probably get into it. But it is possible.
Yeah.
It's not, well, as we're recording this, we're 2 days out of April. And the fact that we're in April now with almost a completed release schedule for this year is a good thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yes. But yeah, I've just been we have been sort of trying to keep busy with audios. I did write a script this month, admittedly. I wrote.
Which one was that?
Wrote On the Scene 3, which is due out in June.
Oh yes.
Which I've just trying to fast track recording. So I've just had, been so busy with writer's block as well included. I've only really just got round to getting it done. Also, would you like to know a fun fact, Eamon? Because this is a good podcast talking point.
What?
So yesterday, I was on the train coming home from work. Or was
Yes.
I? No, I was down in Brighton.
I don't know.
I was down in Brighton, but I told the story whilst I was on the train back to some people, like my stepmom and stuff.
Okay.
I was in Brighton, and I got a phone call from a delivery company called FedEx, and they said,
I've heard of them. They were in Captain America: Civil War.
Very good. So yeah, anyway, so what we did was you've really thrown me off again. Why do you do that? So anyway,
It's
but
my secret talent.
I always throw them off. But anyway, I got a phone call from them saying that they had a parcel for me, but they tried to deliver it to the address I used to live at before I lived here. Of which I've been scammed before, not by FedEx, but by people posing as my bank before, and they've been able to access my account and take money out and etc. And it took a long time to get it all sorted. So basically, after I sorted it all
and
out,
you were
with them
like,
and I
I'm not
got,
letting you go
yeah,
in physically
but
and take all my stuff
I'd
from my
asked them,
house.
I asked them a few questions, and they provided some actually very decent proof of these things. So once I was convinced of that, I gave them my new address, and they said, yes, the parcel's from Poland. I was like, oh, okay. I don't remember ordering anything from Poland, and certainly not to my old address that I moved out of nearly 3 years ago. So I thought that was quite interesting. But they said it would be delivered tomorrow first thing, and that tomorrow is now today. So I got a knock at the door and I answered it, and it was a big parcel, which like all this paperwork on it because they had to change the address and everything, and it had gone overseas. And I opened it, and it. So when did we start talking? September 2020 sort of time was when our initial hellos happened.
Yes, like September.
It's something I ordered a
2020.
month before I first started talking to you that I'd forgotten I'd ordered.
Oh,
Do you now? This isn't a product placement because they have really bad reviews now. But there's a company which I'm just going to name anyway called Teva Planter, and I think I've shown you them before. They're like this
never
clay.
heard of
There's
them.
this
They
like
weren't in Captain America Civil War.
I'm gonna show you it anyway. It's a clay pot that you have these little divots in them. You see?
Yes.
Anyway, so you've got these little divots in them, and you pour water into this pot, and you put the seeds in this little gel in these divots, and then the water inside here have these little holes that then allow the water to go into the divots and water the plant, and the plant grows on the outside of this.
Yeah. Oh.
And it looked really good because it's not like your usual plant pot, you know. It's just this thing, and it grows on the outside of it. And I thought I was going to get it for my because my it was around coming up for Christmas, and it was a Kickstarter, so I knew things were going to be a little while. So I bought it thinking it'd be a Christmas present for my stepmom's mother, because she loves flowers and growing flowers. But the problem is during lockdown, no one was open for her to get flower pots, so I thought I'd get that. Anyway, I'd forgotten I'd ordered it and just carried on, and it never arrived. So I never thought anything of it because I forgot about it. It was only last year when I decided, when I saw more adverts for it again, that I looked it up and had a look, and I saw these reviews, and they're all going, "This is an awful product. You have to wait 2 to 3 years for it to arrive, and there's no compensation for that. They promise you 6 month delivery, and you get it in 3 years." And my thought was, well, I'm glad I never ordered one of them. And then one arrived today.
Oh, cheddars.
Yeah, that's fun.
Have you
ordered or bought anything that that might be a fun story?
No, I bought a Joe Grant figure.
Oh, you've got that. Is that part of the
Joe Grant figure?
Yeah, what was it? Is that part of?
It's the Claws of Exos one.
Oh, okay. But you put it with a set. You said so. It makes the whole.
Yeah,
set.
I put it on the shelf next to the Master from the Claws of Exos, the set that came out a couple of years ago from the Claws of Exos that had the Brig, Benton, and Yates, and then the Third Doctor. So they're all like together now,
and from the same story as well.
Yeah, which is good because it's also my favorite Third Doctor story. So it all works out for Eamon. Everything's coming up, Eamon.
No, well.
So yes, I paid $45 for it.
Good.
But he was also selling the Seventh Doctor TARDIS. But I placed one bid on that, and the person who was already bidding on it had, I think, activated an automatic bidding thing.
Like a bot.
So I placed a bid, and then it immediately went up to my bid, and I was like, cool, I'm not getting into a fight with you.
Yeah, probably best to. And plus I don't really
trust. But I made him pay $97 instead of 95.
See, I don't have my I wanted to try and get a TARDIS for every figure
I didn't buy it off eBay.
Oh, you didn't?
We have a thing called Trade Me.
Is it where people trade themselves?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I went on yesterday. Someone was trying to give away their dogs.
What?
Yeah, they were moving house, and so they couldn't take their dogs with them, so they were just offering their dogs for free, just to make sure that But it was just like they were like, we don't want any money for them. We just want to know that they're going to go to a loving home. And then it was a really sweet story because I looked in the comments and people were like, "Oh no, take your dogs with you," and they decided in the end to take their dogs with them
Oh, that's nice.
to find a
I was
way to
worried
take
you were
them
going to
with
be
them. And I
extremely
was like,
sarcastic when you said, there's a lovely ending to this story. And I was worried you were going to do your extreme sarcasm of saying it's an awful ending.
oh no, it was actually a really lovely ending.
Oh,
I was like,
good.
oh, that's so sweet. I was very close to getting their dogs, but the dogs were like 6 hours drive away, and it was like have to pick up, and I was like, oh, I'm not getting a dog.
Oh,
I was about to buy two. I was about to buy 2 dogs.
Oh, sir.
Do I have any space for 2 dogs? No. This is why I'm not allowed on sites where people sell dogs, because I will buy a dog with no place to have a dog. I'll just my flatmates are aware that there is the possibility that one day I will show up with a dog with no context on how I got a dog. I'll just now have a dog.
I like that you've got that kind of chaotic positivity. I like that.
I like dogs.
Well, that was a lovely story. And we just talked about some fun stories we like. There's quite a few fun stories I like in Henry Woodman Into the Multiverse.
Yes. And then depressing ones.
Shall we go and speak to Lewis about Henry Woodman Into the Multiverse?
I'm not going to speak to him because I'm not in that segment. But you should go speak to him, yes.
Okay, well, be right back. I'll go and speak to him.
Okay.
Overton Audios presents...
What the hell?
Henry Woodman, you are needed.
What do you want?
All the universes are in danger.
What? Your bedside manner needs work. I can't stay here. Bertie Bassett himself will walk through that door any bloody second.
Are you that sick little crybaby who I'm supposed to be moping over?
That guy looks sweet. Indeed, seems like a cheerful fellow.
Ah, we should invite him to be a part of our group.
Yes, another addition to our Dalek trio. Yay! Yes, let's go meet our new friend first. Yay!
I'll way out of this hospital, this building, hell, out of this universe would do.
The easiest way out for most of them is to be boiled as licorice.
Yeah, have you perhaps got a way that I can get out that means I can see tomorrow?
I don't know who you are. Should I?
We've worked together. I'm from another universe. You need to believe me.
Identity confirmed. Known bounty hunter Devlin.
I'm Devlin, owner of the Rings of Saturn.
Devlin? Is that really you?
Give it to me, Tommy. Please. One more step, and I'll destroy it. Then neither of us gets to be the hero.
Who did you steal it from?
I was given it.
By who?
The Cookie Monster. Who do you think? You neat.
You've clearly been somewhere, chocolate chops.
Yeah, well, only to chocolate fountains.
Henry Woodman. I almost didn't believe it.
Doctor?
We need to get back to our universe, Henry. Henry Woodman Into the Multiverse. Coming the 15th of April 2023 at 12 p.m. Hello, welcome back to the podcast, and I'm here with Lewis Wheelhouse. Hello, Lewis.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all good. It's been a little while since we spoke over a call, hasn't it? Quite a little while.
I think the last time we were on a podcast 2 years ago.
Was it? Have you? I couldn't remember if you'd been in. Have you been in the podcast before? This is really bad. I should know this.
It was just after lockdown. It was either during lockdown or just I can't remember exactly when it was. I just started doing sketches.
Oh, yes, there you go. Okay, let me have a
Uh,
look. I'm looking on IMDb for it, because that's the only place where it's got the whole list of stuff.
I'm guessing it's either late 2020 or 2021. I'm not sure.
It is. Let me look at the date. It's the middle of 2021.
The middle. I can't remember that.
So in this we were talking about your return to the role of Henry Woodman in Doctor Who Remembrance.
Oh my God, is that in there? I was thinking it was Torchwood. Decades after decades. It's not that, is it?
No.
That was one before.
No,
Oh my God, it's really bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That was one before. Yes, it was 2 audiobooks, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the audio. I think it was across both sets, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
Dr. Woodman.
Yeah,
So
that one came out around sort of the end of 2021, but I think the one we were talking about was Vampire Mind.
Yes, yeah. My memory is really bad because I remember recorded that like the year before.
You recorded it October 2020?
Yeah. Well, quite a while since
3
and it
years.
always is. Well, like Overton Audios stuff, you record stuff and then it don't come out for a good 12 months at least. In which, given that I'm recording one in 2024 that I recorded at the beginning of last year, that's an achievement.
Yeah. That one
Yeah.
I can say what it is now because I've mentioned it already.
Yeah.
But that's Mastermind Volume 3, I think, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, we've got a friend of mine called Abi has been helping me edit some of the audios. So she's you're now her favorite character.
Oh my God. So I'm Luke's favorite character. And if
Yeah.
Luke's watching this, I am so flattered. And was it Abi?
Abi, yeah.
Abi, thank you. Thank you for being my fan. I've got 2 fans.
Yeah, but we've actually been developing as well. We've been talking about this for a while about in terms of Henry Woodman returning. We've done he's had quite a few returns at this stage, but when we initially talked about, because to give context for the whole Henry Woodman storyline, he appeared first in Doctor Who Resurrection Series 1, Episode 1. So you've been in it since the very first audio we ever made.
Jesus, I feel old now.
That was 2016. That was 2016.
2016. So, what
And
would
you
I be, man?
I don't know. That was what, 6 years ago?
I would have been 19 then.
Oh man.
I'm an old man now, you see. I remember there when I started playing Henry Woodman. My God. So 7 years ago. 8 years ago.
6 or 7, yeah. Something like that. We recorded, but with that, this was before the days of what we've got now, which is weekly content. It was just, I decided to make the first one, didn't I, just for the 53rd? And here we are. Oh, no, is it the 53rd?
60th.
No,
yeah, 60th anniversary.
No, yeah, it has been 7. Sorry, no, yeah, it has been 7 years. Yeah, because obviously the 53rd, and then this year we got the 60th. But yeah, so you were in that, and then we did sort of periodic episodes every few months or so, not really massive weekly volumes or series. And then eventually in 2018, towards the end of Series 2, you were shot and killed by the Master, of all people.
I'm right in saying it wasn't your first one, though, was it? Because you did it. You had like a visual episode,
yes, I had a visual. Yeah. I had a visual one, but it's not really what you'd consider canon. It's it's something that was made to be part of a visual series, but this was before the days of audios, DW 2012, Prism, and
back in the fan films days that we all forget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then but no, then Henry died, and then you said, "Oh, was there anything else we're going to do?" And we did have this idea for bringing you back with Torchwood. Of course, we've then proceeded to do that with Torchwood Decades and Decades. But because, just so you know, and I'm obviously trying to sort this out with quite a few people anyway, we are going to be sort of remaking some of the Knife trilogy, because some of it include characters who are part of DW 2012, and we've obviously moved on from that.
Yeah.
So we are going to be recreating and probably developing that more so over time. But
is this the new thing, the Prism universe?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he essentially what this volume is, the volume that we're here to really talk about, Henry Woodman into the Multiverse. It's set 3 years after you've been brought back to life by this time-imbued knife. And what's happened is, rather than joining Torchwood immediately, you were resurrected by UNIT, and you've now joined UNIT as an analyst. So you're basically someone who just works at the computers, doing research, finding out information, etc. And then just randomly one day, when you're in your flat, you just get called upon by this being called the Oracle. And then you just get thrown into this multiversal adventure. The only problem is, of course, is that your brain's a little bit muddled from the whole experience. You'd literally been woken up and thrown into another universe. You couldn't quite remember what was going on, and you just had to navigate the situations as they came. But yes, for those who also know continuity, the Oracle is a big character because he's a very special character that's appeared in Fractured Timeline before. So it's all connected multiversally and everything like that. But I think it's nice though, because with Henry, he's got good comedic effect, but I think there's more to him than just cracking jokes, as we've certainly, I think, seen in this volume that's coming up.
Yeah, you've got like a variety of episodes, haven't you, really? So, you start with something like a big, bold opening episode, then you've got a bit of humour with it, in which, can we talk about who's in it? Like, is the trailer to this?
The trailer, let me just quickly check the schedule. I believe the trailer will have come out by this point, and as we've already announced the cover art as time of recording this, the trailer will actually be coming out in 3 days after this podcast, but the trailers do play before the segment anyway, so that, for example, people know from the cover art that the Candyman's in it, that there's Daleks, that there's Fraser Ward, and that cravat appears at some point.
Yeah.
So like those things we can obviously chat about, and they're kind of like episode, not gimmicks, but like multiversal kind of things to look at, aren't they?
Yeah. So in episode 2, you've got the Daleks, in which is very
that's episode 3.
Story. Episode 3, right? Okay. Given that I've just listened to the episode not too long ago, that is quite alarming.
Yeah.
That's episode 3. Episode 2. Right, you got your 2 comical episodes with, very, very known aliens in the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah.
One that's not been around since the old classic series, in which, are we allowed to say who he is?
I've already said it's the Candyman. Yeah.
Okay. Am I listening? Yeah, we've got the Candyman, and we've got the Daleks, in which they're your comical episodes that I've written. To be honest, when I got the scripts through, I was like, "Oh, this is comedy. This is really bizarre and weird," but I like them. I really like them when I listen back to it. It's a whole new world for Henry as well, isn't it? Like,
well, that's the thing. I know that when we've spoken before, we've spoken about you're saying that your strengths are in comedy, and I wouldn't consider myself the greatest comedy writer. So I very much wanted to try and get as many different people as possible involved in the writing process. So we have Eamon Longman writes the first episode, which has a nice, I think when you listen to that, that's a nice balance between seriousness and comedy, because there are characters who we know that crop up and are a little bit different, and that's the kind of comedic element. Whereas with episodes 2 and 3, they're just like, when I say they're silly, I mean, like, it's fun. It's just, it doesn't really specify what's different about this universe. It's just a fun little thing, it's just a little funny adventure where, Henry's just like, okay, this is that world that this is going on. Okay. And then I wrote the final episode, but I very much feel that without your natural, I think you've got a natural comedic presence anyway, Lewis. So I feel like without yourself in that as well, it wouldn't have necessarily hit the comedy levels needed.
Yeah. I try and do like serious stuff, but I always swim back to comedy for some reason. But I do like it for Henry's character, and it's a nice mix. It is a nice mix of comedy, and then you've got your seriousness in episode 1. But then again, you have got your comedy, haven't you? You know,
Yeah.
but it does take a twist towards the end.
Yeah, it's just a scenario where everything that's happening around him is completely ridiculous.
And it's based off characters, isn't it? Like individual people and their choices and whatnot.
Well, the Candyman, for example, the Candyman, he was a threat in the original story, but nonetheless, it's still got a natural comedic flair because he's made of sweets.
Yeah, you can't take him serious for long, can you? Really, it's not going to take over the world. You know,
exactly.
Unless he's going to sugarcoat it with sweets and it's ridiculous. Never going to happen.
But then, of course, you've got the other comedic episode featuring the Daleks, and I believe that the writer Aidan described it as Teletubby Daleks.
Yeah. I remember reading that.
Yeah, it's just what they're doing there is they're acting like Teletubbies, but they're the Daleks, and
I like to call them smackhead pepper pots.
Yeah, and then,
which essentially, isn't it? It's Daleks on. Can you say certain words on here?
Well, we used to have a rule, but it just seems to have gone out the window. So you say what you like.
Right. You can always beep it. It's Daleks on crack, essentially, really, isn't it?
yeah, it is. Yeah. But yeah, no, and then at the very end, episode 4. It's got comedic elements to it, but it was very much what I consider episode 4 to be the setup for the future with Henry.
Yeah,
because he's like, as you've seen from the covers, and we've not mentioned this other character yet. I mean, I did, but we haven't mentioned it specifically. But Cravat and Henry reunite in the finale. Cravat,
yeah.
Well, Cravat's been under the assumption for a certain time that Henry died. And this is the episode where he discovers that hasn't happened, but also that Henry sees that the Doctor has changed a lot in his absence as well.
It feels a while since me and you have done an episode, hasn't it?
It has. It has really. It's been a very long time.
The last one was. Was it Resurrection back in series 2, or have we done something since?
Well, if we're looking at in terms of like full cast audio dramas rather than the audio books, I think it has genuinely. The last time you and I had a scene together would have been like 4 years ago.
Wow. So
we did
was
both.
In series 4, wasn't I? I think I went series 4.
Yeah, very briefly, because that's tying up the continuity of how. See, Henry's been through the wars, hasn't he? Like at the very beginning of Resurrection, he got put into a dimension by a separate dimension for 5 years by the Sable Owners. Can't recall at the moment if he remembers it, but he was basically kidnapped for 5 years. And then,
to be honest, the actor that plays him doesn't remember, so carry on talking. I'll let you lead on this.
Well, no, actually, it's even worse than that, because Henry's from another universe still, which is why we thought the multiverse idea was, because he's not. He's a multiversal character anyway. He's from Dimension 2. He gets kidnapped by a rogue Time Lord, brought into Dimension 1, and essentially tortured. And then, within the first adventure of Henry and. Well, he wasn't Cravat at the time, it was the parallel Doctor. Within that first adventure, he gets kidnapped by the Sable Owner King and possibly frozen in stasis for 5 years. And then, on top of that, he gets stranded with Julia Breslin on Earth for 6 months, thinking that the Doctor's dead. And then he meets his parallel self called Harry, who is then poisoned by the villain, and he decides to stay behind to nurse him in his final days. So essentially, he watches his own doppelganger die in front of him slowly.
Pretty tragic.
Yeah, and then when he does return to the Doctor, he gets shot and killed.
Oh, fucking hell. It's gone for everything, hasn't it? I'll tell you something that I've realised, like between me and you's writing style. When I learned to do like the detective, me and you really put our characters through torture, don't we?
A lot of people do. A lot of people do. And I did sit there with a friend of mine and just go, "Why do we do this? Why do we do this?
Why do we do this? Can't we just give him a happy ending?"
Yeah, but this
no,
is
just kill him off.
Well, this is why I've kind of given that gap for Henry. Like he gets resurrected literally a day or two after he gets shot and killed, and that's why we've skipped ahead 3 years to 2021.
Therefore, we
Keep
know
surviving somehow.
well, it means he gets to live a sort of normal life for a little bit without pain. With the when the Henry Woodman into the multiverse, he just kind of has fun, sees the Doctor again. The Doctor invites him to rejoin him, and Henry ultimately says, "You're a good friend, but no, I can't. I've got to move on." And that's where we lead into other storylines. Like, I'll tell you a bit about them after we finish this section. But there were lots of there were scripts that are already written with Henry in them.
Right. Okay. This is something I'm not aware of.
No.
I'm fascinated here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, there's but yeah, with Henry Woodman into the multiverse, it's a great opportunity for Henry to also reflect as well, because he, as we know, he's met characters already that we're yet to see in terms of the audio, so he knows people, and obviously with Unit he knows Colonel Stevenson already, so those things and knowledge come into it, and it's fun watching him explore.
And as well, it's good to see the difference of like how he takes the centre of the main character, because usually Henry's like your sub character, the Doctor's the main plot character, and then you've got your companions. But this time round, you've got, and that's not meaning to brag, it's the way the story's set. Well, it's called Henry Woman into the Universe, but I think it's an interesting concept with Henry because it's all new to him in a way, in taking centre stage of all this.
Yeah.
And you can see how he makes his decisions along the way, and how he sees certain things, like at the end of episode when that happens, how he deals with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's usually used to doing these adventures with the Doctor, and he's now going, it's just me.
And that Day is human, isn't he? So you see a very human reaction to a lot of things. So as well as you got your comedy, you've got your hitting moments, and you do see that in episode 1. And yeah, I'm trying not to spoil it, but episode 1 is my favorite one. I remember that the most. And it's written by a really good writer as well. All of them are really good, but my personal favourite's episode 1.
Well, that's the thing, because it was meant to be initially a sort of nice, fun, not something you take entirely seriously, because ultimately I make so much lore-heavy continuity stuff that with this, it's meant to be something that obviously, fits into continuity and the greater standing of the character's journey, but something that you don't really have to go, like, you don't really have to think, oh God, I have to remember that happened with the Candyman. No, it's not in Prism. It's in another universe. It's just a bit of fun without sort of massive consequences, and just something for people to have fun with. Because right now, at the moment, the Torchwood volume called Nexus is currently coming out, and that's very lore heavy in trying to explain because the characters, when we initially made the first volume of Torchwood, was all set, for example, in DW 2012. But now we're having to explain that those characters have fallen through a nexus point and ended up in the Prism universe, and that everything's fine now. They can stay here and continuity still maintains and everything like that. But
so
with
it makes
this,
a bit of a spider web, doesn't it? Well, like the understanding of it and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like we're out taking the hit on kids' TV because I love children's TV. It is a bit like that, isn't it? Where it's not too complicated to understand, and it's got that little bit of fun, but it's got its. You know what I mean, don't you?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like I wanted it to be that you could jump on board with any episode, really. Like the core premise is something is taking this one person through the multiverse, and he is solving problems as he goes along. It's nothing. It's nothing like, obviously there are little bits going on in the background to do with Henry's life, but ultimately it's something you could jump with episode 2 first.
Yeah, you could start with that episode and
exactly.
pick on from episode 4 if you wanted to. It's the exact same, as long as you know the core concept of it. That is bouncing from one multiverse to the next. That's pretty. You can watch.
Yeah, that's very much what I wanted with this. I wanted it to be something where if somebody joined in late, they wouldn't lose anything from the previous one, except that Henry would be probably better at navigating something than the previous episode. But because there has to be some progression somewhere. But I just felt like it was very much. I really had fun. I really had fun making it. It was nice and refreshing to edit it as well, because I've been, I'm such a. I I don't know. I've always been nervous around comedy. I love comedy and I love stand-up. I love sitcoms, but I've never felt confident being funny. People seem to find me naturally sort of funny with my humor, but I couldn't sit there and think of something funny to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest, the way it's written is brilliant, and yeah, I really like the episodes. Like, yeah,
yeah, but there's
it hits Do you know what I mean? It's Henry's sort of thing is comedy, and that sort of works with this sort of series.
yeah. I think I said to Abi the other day that Henry is like our version of Nardole.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on my last one.
But you know what I mean? Like he's got especially when Bill turns to, like in series 10 of Doctor Who, when Bill turns to Nardole and go, yeah, you're not really that scary though. And it turns out that he actually can be, but he's just got a naturally bubbly personality. With Henry, I'd want to kind of explore how, because I'm not saying at all that he's got a dark side to him, but the things he's been through, they're gonna, it's gonna take a toll on someone eventually. Eventually, something's gonna happen where he's just.
To be honest, how can you not find a Candyman funny and multicolored?
Oh
Daleks,
I think Henry as well. I think Henry as well in the Multiverse volume. I think he's missed it as well. He's been on Earth. He's been on Earth for 3 years working as a unit analyst at a desk.
Yeah.
Like, he's glad for the job and he's glad for the support, because we don't really reference it, but essentially UNIT have supported him because haven't.
Henry could very easily, because he's got a few encounters with it. Is it the Oracle? Got that right?
Yeah, yes, the Oracle.
Yeah, he's got a few encounters with them. Bouncing from one episode to the other. He could easily say, "I do not want this. Send me home now. This is nuts." But it sort of goes along with the ride.
Yeah.
And, it just, that works really well, And it's just like you say, it's a fun little story, each one to the next.
Yeah, precisely. I've really enjoyed kind of looking at that, though. It's been really fun to explore those elements and just see what's been.
Have you done much comedy since, this sort of series?
Well, I don't. I feel like we have. We did a Red Nose Day special that came out yesterday, and that was something that James Sutton had written about the Fomarsi.
Yeah. I saw it on YouTube.
But I've also not really. I don't know. I've got ideas that would be funny, but I could never. I don't know. Maybe I just need to give it a go and see what happens. Because I don't feel like I'm a. A lot of people find me funny, but I don't think what I sometimes say is as funny as people laugh. Maybe it's just the delivery of how I deliver it,
With comedy, it's what you find funny at the end of the day, So it's one of those things where either people jump on board or they'll be like, nah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I quite like deadpan humor, for example. I like the sort of deadpan humor where it's kind of, when I say awkward, I mean like seeing people's reactions is what is the funny thing to me, not necessarily the joke. Problem is with audio, you can't.
How do you do that on audio?
Yeah, exactly. You for example, an episode that's come out today of Torchwood Nexus stars Cravat in it to explain the whole Nexus points.
Right.
And we kind of explained that via him not really understanding things or just kind of saying things that make people go, "What?" and all this sort of stuff, and that to me I find amusing, but it's not the same thing as Henry. Henry's kind of got what I'd call, if you were to look at it, Henry's kind of got a Norman Wisdom vibe to him.
Yeah, you could say that. I think so. Yeah. But he's always hit by stuff, and
but he's also kind of, I mean, like I could imagine Henry rushing to get the tube and getting his tie stuck in the door and then being dragged down the train and going, uh-oh. Because I know but I also know that you would play that fantastically as well.
Yeah, because I pretty much do the same thing in real life. So, it's a pretty close interpretation to me, but I love that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like it's like imagine like a modernized Norman Wisdom type style thing is what I see. I've watched Norman Wisdom films as a kid. I absolutely loved them. You know, like the way that he accidentally would lean on something, accidentally push down the accelerator to the fire truck, and it would go through a wall, like that sort of thing. I can see Henry going, "Whoops, sorry," and all this. I think he did that actually a couple, not that specific thing, but he'd make a couple of those sort of mistakes in this volume anyway. But like,
Comedy's great when, like, you know, you're not physically forcing it, and you know, like you're pulling a straight face.
Yeah.
And it's just seemed, well, like you say, the reactions and like, have you seen Only Fools and Horses? That sketch where like it leans towards Del Boy leans towards like the pub door,
the bar.
you know, like, yeah, the bar bit, yeah.
Yeah, he's leaning on it. He
side.
stands up and points at something, and meanwhile in the background somebody lifts it up and walks through.
Yeah.
And he goes,
could easily make like a facial expression going, oh, but he doesn't. His face is completely
still. He just completely tenses up and falls.
And that makes it even more funnier. And it's,
yeah,
I know what you mean. That sort of humor.
Yeah, like a lot of my humor is quite visual. So audios, it's trying to find the balance, and I think with audios, it has to be the way a character navigates a sort of semi-silly situation anyway, which is why I think I am genuinely I'm not. Even though I know I've not had a hand in a lot of the writing of it, I'm so pleased and proud of how this volume has come out.
Yeah, you should be. It's really good. It is really, really good. I've been doing it with you for 7 years, and we've never gone down this route. So it's an interesting route to go down, and it's fun. You know, you mentioned it yourself. It's just a fun thing to do, innit?
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice to do something like this because, you know, with Doctor Who stuff, sometimes people take it quite. And I say people, me included, but it's always taken as something kind of be like really gritty or serious or something like that. But sometimes just a little bit of camp in there does no harm at all.
A bit of light relief as well. We've just come out of lockdown, so something that's a little bit more light relief than having it too much. You know,
exactly.
To like debate about and get, you know.
That's the thing. I came up with a few variants for like possible second volumes or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Henry Woodman into Space and Time.
All right.
Or like, you know, they're just like I feel like if it was to be a franchise, so to speak, out of this, it would be Henry Woodman into blank.
Yeah. Okay, so it wouldn't necessarily be into the multiverse per series, per se.
No, it would be like a different thing, is what I was thinking. Like Henry Woodman into the universe would be him accidentally getting teleported on a spaceship, and they're like, "Sorry, we're going this way now," and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Yeah, just something like that, really basic format, and then you make something out of it. Like it's a cargo ship, and he's accidentally like in the cargo hold, and he's like, "I'm locked in, let me out." And they're going, "Sorry, mate, your cargo." And he goes, I'm not meant to be here. And he goes, "Well, we're not supposed to open the cargo until we arrive." You know, just something silly like that. Or
Henry Woodman gets stuck in a lift.
Yeah,
a whole series stuck about, you know, I'm stuck in a lift.
Precisely, yeah. I think I came up with quite a few little things. I can't remember them now. I was talking to Abi about them. But yeah, I think there's a lot of like little funny opportunities. So it's just trying to figure out the continuity for it. Because the multiverse one's a good one to step into, but we do actually have a next chapter for Henry already planned. It's not specifically a volume about him, but I'll tell you about it after.
Please do, because I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, I don't. You know, it sounds like I know what I'm saying. I don't have a clue. You know, you're gonna have to tell me because I don't know.
Yeah. But no, it's been a really nice, fun thing. We also asked, because I had this idea for the logo. I don't know. For me, I couldn't get the Sylvester McCoy Doctor Who logo out of my head whenever I thought about this volume.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring it up because I remember looking at it and thinking that's ace.
Yeah, because I liked the way it had the word Doctor in like a more bulkier kind of text, and the word, I think it was the word Who, was written like a signature.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of it being Henry Woodman in bulk and then having something else saying into the multiverse, sort of similar to Harry Potter when they go Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So it'd be Henry Woodman into the multiverse. Something like that, really, I was trying to aim for. Like, so therefore it would still be under the Henry Woodman volume, but with a different subtitle.
Yeah. Like at the top, I remember saying to you at the time, it looks very Back to the Future, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like that whole sort of essence. Like am I right in saying it's got a very classic Who feel to it as well?
Yeah, yes.
when he jumps into this multiverse thing, when he goes, right, I'm off on my pops, see ya. That sound effect sounded really very much like classic Doctor Who. And I love that. It does have a classic feel to it, not like a modern sound, like modern sci-fi. And that works really well as well.
Yeah, exactly. I like it though. I think it's nice and fun.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to say about the volume?
Please do more.
Yeah.
Please do more.
Don't worry, we will. We will.
Yay!
Yeah.
I hope everybody enjoys it. Basically, I enjoy watching it. I've enjoyed doing it. Not watching it, listening to it, for goodness sake. I've enjoyed doing it. I just hope everyone else enjoys it too, because it is a light relief in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope Jeeve and John enjoys it as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what his reaction will be, because he's gone very good with numbers, and the ratings have gone. I'm interested to see what he says.
Oh, indeed, indeed.
Well, looking forward to that.
Yeah, once again, thank you again, Lewis, for being free to be on this. And yes, I hope everyone enjoys the volume. The trailer will be out on the 8th of April, and then the volume starts weekly from the 15th of April until the 6th of May.
It's in my diary. I'm spending all month watching that. Because I've got no life.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm back here with Eamon. Hello, Eamon.
Hello. I've returned.
I chose that moment to say hello to you because I saw that you started drinking again. I was like, I'm now saying hello. I was really just
damn alcoholic.
So anyway, we're going to be reading some comments from some of the releases that have come out on Overton Audio since we last recorded. Now, I think what you said was we read the comments for episode 2 of Remembrance 3. No, we hadn't recorded those. What am I talking about? No, I hadn't. Right, we hadn't read the comments for episode 2 of Remembrance 3, and so we're going to start there. And then after I've read the comments for Remembrance 3, the Divergence episode 3, and the Red Nose Day special we released, I will then defer to you to read the Torchwood comments. Okay, you ready? So starting off with Doctor Who Resurrection, Remembrance 3, episode 2, Ceaseless. We have a comment here from the Blue Kazoo herself, saying, this audiobook absolutely broke my heart into pieces. Connor, you have shown so much talent and emotion in this audio playing Cravat, especially with the audiobook that came out yesterday. My heart is bruised. # Julia and Cravat forever. And we have another comment from CSP saying, this was wonderful to hear. To be honest, I didn't need to read the script again until I listened to it for a second time because I wanted to hear how the words would be said. It was wonderful. It was perfect. I loved it. Connor was amazing and read it pitch perfect. It was almost like the words leaped off the page as I was hearing them. And I'll admit, I had a moment while listening to it, but not as the writer of this, but as a fan of this version of the Doctor and his journey. Thank goodness this has been scheduled after Crimson Hunter Volume 4, because it was the perfect time for it to be out, because it was truly, as said in the audio, the stepping stone to something later, and it leads perfectly into Cravat's role in Transcendence. I'd like to give this 12 out of 10, not for it being something I'd written, but for the love, care, and attention that was brought to it. Thank you for everything, Cravat and Connor. And then, we had another comment from Dr. Redivivus, otherwise known as Michael Cox, who said, an excellent story, a really thought-provoking, imaginative exploration of the Doctor's inner world and his relationship with his closest friend, the TARDIS. Well done, Connor and Thomas. And then we had a comment from Marianne the Night Owl, who said, oh, wow. Thing is, I'm currently on a very long path to hopefully being the person I was for most of my life, except without the man who left me after 4 decades. I, too, am shattered. I, too, need more time to heal. But I hope I can do it so as thoughtfully and full of caring as not yet again the Doctor is doing so here. I really needed that healing somehow. It's been more than 2.5 years now, and I'm still not in one piece. I may never be so again. But I must have hope, like the story brings to the journey. Thank you so much. It's very nice comments, aren't they? Anyway, next episode for Doctor Who Divergence, episode 3, The Tragedy of Carpathia. Comment here from CSP. A great chapter in this ever-growing saga of Divergence. I'll admit, I couldn't quite remember the original Carpathia episode in which this one had diverted from. But once we got the diversion, I was instantly hooked. A fantastic 30 minutes well spent in the hands of the ever-growing problems of the ACs and the Zetas. Great episode overall, 9 out of 10. To quickly, for anyone who wasn't sure, the point of Divergence, because Eamon, you wrote this one.
I wrote this one. This was a me one.
The point of Divergence, because I know that the story can sound complicated, but basically it's that the Master got captured and was sentenced to death for something that he'd done in the past. And as a result, he wasn't there to thus send the Doctor on the mission that would send him to Carpathia and thus release his past self from the imprisonment there. So as a result, the master never being around meant that the Northern Doctor would never get sent back in the first place. So thus the Northern Doctor never got sent off the planet. That's essentially it, isn't it? I'm right there, aren't I?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Another comment from Dr. Riddy Vivas, who said, the Zetas and the ACs made their respective choices, and the Doctor wasn't really to blame for the tragedy of Carpathia. However, I suppose he'd felt like he'd failed to help both sides to finally abandon the paranoia and fear, and to give peace a chance. The weight of the universe hangs heavy upon the Doctor's shoulders. Thank you very much for all those comments. And then I shall read the comments for the Red Nose Day special that came out about 2 weeks ago, The Fling with the Famasi, which was a very last-minute thing. So we have a comment here from CSP who says, I am not kidding here when I say that I nearly died of laughter at this. Well done to all those involved, and thank you for putting something out on this very special day. Comment here from Instability Productions said, been having an awful time, so this really made me so happy to hear. Great job, guys. Was laughing more than I have in ages. And then a comment here from Harry Gosling, who said, the dry humour in this was brilliant. I loved the special so much. Thank you very much for everyone who's commented on those. And Eamon, I believe the next one is for Torchwood Nexus, isn't it?
It is, and that's me. I read these ones. So this is for, once my YouTube lets me look at it. This is for episode 1, Down the Foxhole by James Sutton.
Oh, yes.
So we have a comment from CSP that says, I had such fun with this episode. If it wasn't the beginning and, well, the ramifications of going further, then it really was the team who I've missed. Good to see them back, but also good to see them notice the differences around the world at the same time. The mystery of the differences sounds like a good idea, and I hope will make for a great story arc throughout the rest of the series. But most of all, I'm glad to see Torchwood is back and ready as everything changes.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, they are back. Yes. Neil Kendrick says, I'm looking forward to this, which is really lucky for him because he can listen to it now. And then Pringle Sauce says, hey, is there any way I can get in contact with the team? Thanks. I think the Torchwood team are fictional characters, so I don't think that's possible. But if you're talking about the Overton Audios team,
I am here. Hello. Email
it's
me.
easy.
Yeah, as I said before, if you ever want to email me at overtonaudios@gmail.com. Lots of people do. I don't know how people get hold of it.
Cheddars likes people.
I like people, and hopefully they like me.
If you don't love Cheddars, we will kill you.
No. People don't always get along, Eamon. People don't always get along, and that's fine.
Murder.
No, Eamon. No.
Episode 2,
Oh.
Through the Nexus Point by James Sutton again.
Okay.
CSP says, loved this episode. Words cannot say to how much I loved this episode. Loved it. There. That's 5 uses of the word loved for you to show how much this episode was really, really the best.
Oh. That's nice.
Scarecrow Props, that's Sutton, says,
Sutton.
well done to everyone involved. Well done indeed. And then Harry Gosling says, I love the second episode. Love how it ties into the Red Nose Day special of Resurrection. Very well done.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, in fairness, to be
Yes.
honest with you, we kind of planned Torchwood Nexus many months in advance. A lot of people think it's the other way around. It is not. It is not. The whole Famasi story kind of came up as an idea less than
The whole Famasi thing was like, the whole Famasi thing was a joke until
Yeah.
like a month ago. It was just every time we spoke about it, we went, yes, and that's the point where he goes off to fight the Crinoid in his sunflower mech suit. And then Sutton went, I'm going to write that. And we went, oh.
Oh, okay.
And then this is episode 3, Professional Containment, by James Sutton and Connor Chadwick. CSB says, a great follow-up to the previous 2 episodes in this volume. As much as I'm glad we're away from the Nexus dealings of the last 2, it was good to see a Tommy/Chris story that really interested me. I love the villains in this one. They were just shifty enough to get a real feeling of dread from them. But all in all, great story. Can't wait to hear what you have in store for next week's or episode. Yes.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
And you don't have to wait much longer. It's like a day.
Well, yeah, when this comes out, the finale would have already come out.
Series finale will have come out. And you will know what we had in store.
Yes. Why are you being so sinister?
Matt Barrett says,
oh, okay.
Thank you for asking me to be a part of this. It's a really good episode. Love listening to it. That's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice when the cast interact with the episode.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's all of the comments.
Well, thank you very much for all those comments. In case it wasn't entirely clear before, but then again, I think we run through it with. I think you and Sutton ran through it quite well beforehand, which was about the difference between because some people were still wondering about how Nexus relates to. Have they left continuity or have they joined a new continuity? Do you know what I mean? Did you and Sutton?
Yes.
You and Sutton did cover that, didn't you, in the last month's podcast?
I don't know. Did we? Did you listen to that segment at all?
No, that's what I'm double checking with you because I think you did.
I think we spoke about. We didn't want to spoil anything, so I don't think we said anything too major. But I know we did speak about Tommy and the connections, but the connection between this and the DW 2012 stuff of Tommy. But I don't think we ever really dived into.
Oh, fair.
That
so
too much.
Essentially, we still consider the first volume of Rebirth. It still happened in continuity, but just not how you heard it in the original now. Because obviously, when we made the original, it's set within the DW 2012 universe, and now that we've moved on and thus are forming our own thing under Prism, what we've done is those characters that were there, we've swapped. Basically, a set of Fraser and Lizzie from one place, which was technically from Prism, and the ones that we had in the first Rebirth volume set in DW 2012, and swapped them over, which thus means, for continuity's sake, for DW 2012, there is a Fraser in that universe, and it's also a clean slate, so you don't have to worry about continuity issues with things. That's essentially what we've done. And then we brought over the one that we made with Rebirth, and the same Lizzie, and therefore their continuity doesn't change as well. Therefore, everything's kind of smoother that way. It just seemed easier, didn't it? I assume you meant yes. You just went silent.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, don't leave me hanging. But yeah, indeed. Now, yeah, thank you very much for all of your comments. Thank you very much. Now, would you like to have a little listen to, Eamon, the segment that I recorded with Abi Louise for the Big Finish discussions?
Yes.
And welcome back to the podcast. And I am here with Abi Louise. Hello.
Hello, I am Abi Louise.
And we are talking about Big Finish things. This is the Big Finish discussions. Usually George is here, but unfortunately George is currently busy, so he is not able to make it. But we're talking about the 8th of March release, the release for the International Women's Day from Big Finish. There was the third one called Strange Chemistry.
From Big Finish Productions, the 8th of March, Strange Chemistry.
Miracle cure for cancer! Get your copy here!
Please let me go home. Mattie can speak on my behalf.
Now come along, Madam Curie. You are here for a reason, and you must not shirk your duty.
No human being is perfect.
A truer word was never spoken in jest. Now, a Time Lord, on the other hand.
Doctor? Well, hello there.
So how much future can I get for £3?
It depends on how far you dare to go.
You! Let go! Let go, I say! You can't stop the growth of science.
No, but I can stop you shooting anyone else.
All right, fine. Wait, why do you look like fairies? Out of my way.
Tell me, Mr. President, why is the casket empty?
Many moons ago, a scientist named Brauman managed to drop some minute particles of radium.
Oh, yes, that's right. Never to be found again.
Freeze! She-demon!
No! No, 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 no!
Oh, the things I'll do to you. Just need to outsmart you first. Shouldn't be too hard.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
Now, I've listened to it all. You've listened to the second story, haven't you? So I will do my best to try and discuss with you the first one, and then they'll definitely be able to do the second one. So the first one, which I need to remember the name of, has got the Fourth Doctor and Leela. And it's the full four-parter, and it's all. The first story is called A Ghost of Alchemy, and it's not got any aliens in, anything like that at all. It feels like a proper historical, where they meet Marie Curie, and they have to get her to basically Washington to meet the president and talk about this new invention that will be, like, if they get it all right, it will basically lead on to them finding treatment for cancer. And it's this, I didn't know the history of that myself. It was really nice to listen and kind of learn about it. But ultimately, the villain is a man who's like, no, women don't do this. They make cake. Like he literally says it's literally something he says at one point. He goes, no, they make cakes and they are pretty and they're made to stand there whilst we do things. And
very much of the times.
Yeah, so he's basically spending all of his money chasing them across America to but it also, I don't know, it was quite nice. It was a nice story. Like the Fourth Doctor is in it, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's not, he's not running around going, you must do this, you must do that. It's very much like he's the knowledge of he's the kind of knowledge bank of everything going on in terms of like solving problems. But ultimately it's Leela learning about the future, and ultimately making history happen. There is this lovely Doctor Who-y moment at the end of it when they watch Marie Curie walk onto stage, meet the president and the president's wife, because I can't remember the name of the president in it, but he was well known for not really doing much because his wife was basically the president because she told him what to do all the time. So it was like, no, you shouldn't do this. You should do this. He goes, oh yes, very good, dear. Yes, we should do this. And all this sort of thing.
Listen to the woman. There we go.
It reminds me a little bit because my dad's got this mug that says, I'm the man of the house, but my wife's the boss. All this sort of stuff. It's very much like that. But there's this lovely Doctor Who moment where Fourth Doctor and Leela just kind of look at each other going, our work here is done, and they just walk off and you just hear the TARDIS door close. I like those little little moments.
Dramatic walk-off ending, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like these kind of little warm moments that they're just they're always just observers.
Yeah.
And they just kind of walk off and don't really say goodbye. They're kind of just like enigmas in the grand scheme of the story. Yeah. But there was this weird moment at the beginning of part 1 when the TARDIS was kind of having what you might call a wobble in the vortex, and the Doctor asked Leela to pass him this tool to try and do something with the TARDIS. And because of all the TARDIS like wobbling around, Leela can't really find it, and she's not really aware of what the tool looks like or anything. And in the middle of that, the Fourth Doctor just goes, "Oh, this is why you don't ask a woman to do a man's job." My jaw hit the floor, and at the time,
damn!
At the time, I messaged George and went, "Did you hear that?" And he went, "I was going to message you when you asked me about this." He did say that, and I'm like, "Yeah." And we were like,
"Oh dear."
We were like, "Did he just like?" Oh yeah, and then of course, in typical fashion, George felt the need to then say, "Well, if anything, I expect to hear it from the first Doctor," to which I've disowned him since.
Oh no!
I was like, the wrong choice of words, my friend. but no, it was just a very obscure moment. Obviously, it was used that the use of that line was then questioned.
It was like
by
an
Leela.
arc into the actual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was used very much as a link into Leela going, "What do you mean by that?" Because in her tribe, the women hunt. So for her,
yeah,
like, what do you mean?
True, yeah.
And that's also something that's great about the character of Leela, is that she's had to. It's like it's not just the 8th of March where she's had to deal with sexism. Like when they've gone to other times, even set in the future, where they're like, "Oh yes, what do you think you're doing?" And she's like, "I'm hunting. I have a knife." what are you doing? And they all think she's a savage for it, but she's like, "No, this is normal." It's just like everyone's kind of in some shape or form. But even then, even when where she's from, her doing that is still considered a lesser form. But yeah, when you go into the future, when you go into the future, she's considered too modern, and it's like, this is weird. It's weird how this
She's
works.
quite a good. She's quite a good character to show the whole like sexism, as you're saying, in that kind of story-esque type thing. She's quite a good character to show that through.
It's contradictory though, but when she leaves,
oh yeah, like, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I was like,
we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I was like, oh dear. But
and then it's like the top 5 worst companion leaving things is Leela, 100%.
Yeah, but it was really refreshing having it be a pure historical. Like the finale isn't like an alien trying to go, "We will take over the minds of women," or anything like that. It was just they were on the roof of a train, the guy trying to kidnap Marie Curie, and Leela being the one to actually save the day with weapons and everything, and actually beating him. And they lock him in a bike store or something on the train, and that's how and then they just send a police officer to him later, and then that's the end. And it's like, oh, he got arrested, okay. It was just something nice and grounded, but also education. It was educational and had a nice.
You know how I feel about pure historicals. I love pure historical.
Yeah. But no, I really like that one. Yes, the second one. Now that we can discuss that. The fairies at the bottom of the garden, with Caitlin Blackwood making her Big Finish debut as a 16-year-old Amelia Pond, set in 3 years before 11th
3
Hour.
years, yeah.
I think she did a really good job of sounding both like Amelia and Amy. She did a very good blend between the two, because I think it was during the fairground. It was during the fairground bit when she's just kind of like, oh, and obviously like, I can see Karen a little bit.
100%. She's really good at encapsulating her cousin, definitely. And as well, a lot of people. I'm going to use Chris as an example, Christopher Eccleston. When he done his first audio, I was kind of like, you're not really selling it. You know what it's like when it's not. It's because it's a completely different form of acting, and I feel like she done really well considering that was her first one.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do hope they do more. It'd be nice if they do a little bit more with her. Not too much though. Just a little.
I feel like with the Eccleston one, he wanted to do what he always wanted to do with series 2. The only problem is this was pre-series 1, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, I could see that being where he goes to in series 2, being a lot more jokey, a lot more happier because he's got over that trauma. But the problem is this is set immediately after Time War, so it doesn't work. But what I also found interesting was with Missy. I kind of talked to George about this briefly, and I wasn't too sure if this works in continuity. But I said this is technically Missy. I mean, it is Missy in the Matt Smith era, but I don't know if in timeline wise she's already met 12 or not. She kind of seemed more.
Yeah.
She seemed like early Missy to me.
She did.
Like, she didn't seem like, oh, I've done this. I've got this like database of deceased people, and I've done that now. When you look at the Missy volumes, I mean, have you listened to any of the Missy volumes they've done?
Yeah, most of the Missy.
Yeah, because in volume 1 she gets the Master TARDIS, and that is the Master TARDIS is the database she uses in the series 8 finale. And then she obviously runs off with it when it all goes wrong and ends up with the monk and everything in the other volumes. But in this one, she doesn't have a TARDIS, which makes me think that, you know, how in continuity, basically,
is it pre all of everything else?
That's what I wonder, because she's not even got a TARDIS. But then again, it says that she says that she literally got back to Gallifrey, ran off and got a TARDIS, and went away. But there was a period of time when Missy didn't have a TARDIS, which is basically everything past series 8. And then obviously they're starting to explain now in the Missy volumes why she doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, see, they might have just said that timeline wise she hasn't met 12 yet. So she's met but she doesn't, because she's trying to meet 11 and she fails and she just ends up with 12 instead.
Well, that's what I'm curious about.
Which isn't a bad shout, to be fair.
No, but I like the idea because it gives a bit of an in-universe explanation as to what went on. Because she basically
where was the Master during 11th Doctor era?
Yeah, because like obviously we have 11 mention the Master and everything at one point in Town Called Mercy, but you're
but they never meet.
No, and that's what I kind of hope Big Finish kind of slyly make work. But of course, it can't be Missy because continuity. But I don't know. But no, I think they work really well together. And there was a moment I wrote that you got a little bit worried.
I did. Thought they stole our plot points.
Yeah. So you've made something on TT Productions called The Master, My Dear Pip.
My Dear Pip.
And that's
which is basically the Master's companion, basically.
But convincing them, but the Master convinced them that they have to kill the Doctor.
The Doctor's the bad one. Yeah.
And there was a moment where even I was listening to it going, I've heard these words before, like literally word for word. I was like,
because she's like, does that mean I get to kill the Doctor? I'm like, I'm sure I've said that line.
I was just because we listened to the second one, didn't we? And then but before it came out, we had like a little mini premiere thing where Chambers showed us it, and I think it were literally the beginning of it is lines like what we heard in this, and I'm like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then
ours came first.
but what I found really interesting as well is that with, in a way, the kind of beginning, I like the fact that the story is kind of split into 3 parts, even though it's 1 hour. Well, it's 1 hour 20, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, just over. Yeah.
Because you have the first 20 minutes just being Amy, and just kind of establishing her properly. Because this is also her debut. You can't just run straight into this. You have to kind of show what she's like. This is the first time they're actually really getting to do anything with Amy that isn't an audio book. So yeah, and then they have someone in it called Connor. Actually,
Hello,
I'm gonna check on the cast. 1N.
Oh no!
I was just sat there listening to it and went, "You all right, Connor?" I was like, "Hello." Yes. I was like,
that's me.
I feel seen. It's me. But then no, it was good. And then afterwards, you had the next 20 minutes be about Missy. And then because they basically all made it to the same point, didn't they? Which is their first meeting. But what I liked was the fact that this Amy, it was about her being reintroduced to this world because she'd met so many psychologists and stuff and made her think, no, you're just have bad mental health. And then everyone's just seen it as, you've just got bad mental health. You've had a breakdown.
And she's
at some point.
accepted that. She's like, yes, I
Yeah.
had bad mental health. And then this happens. She's questioning it all over again.
Yeah, but then she meets but that's the thing is that what's nice is I don't think she needed to, because a lot of people were wondering, including myself, how it was going to work leading into 11th Hour.
Mm.
And I wonder if she hadn't had this story, if the 11th Hour would have now happened properly. You know what I mean? Because she would have just gone, yeah.
Yeah.
But because when she speaks to the fairies do actually say, always remember, believe in us, please, and all this, and it opens her mind to that stuff again. And also, Missy does technically help a little bit by saying, oh, he's real. Don't listen to them. But she's also Missy's oddly actually a very good listener.
Yes. It's got to be early Missy then. Like,
because she's literally just going, well, you obviously met someone. And they're like, yeah, but they said there isn't anyone. It goes, but you must have met someone. Well, yeah, you must have met someone to have that much detail.
Yeah.
And so, who did you meet? And it's like, actually, and then it actually makes Amy feel heard as well.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a little. It's a weird relationship. In a way.
Yeah,
it's like the whole all that stuff you were told that you were crazy is not. You're not crazy. He's actually a thing.
I suppose it's also
kind of reigniting it all again.
I suppose it's also a nice thing for just mental health generally in that sense, because people do try and shut things down. Like, nope, this isn't the case. This isn't the case. It's about understanding the in-depths of it. It's not always just nope, didn't happen. There is sometimes more layers to it that need to be explored. Why has this happened? Why are you thinking? What's been going on, and all this sort of stuff. But no, I think it's a nice story, and it's. Again, that with the first one, it was much more historical about the achievements of women. And this one, it was very much. I think it was much more celebration of the characters. And, I mean, also an introduction to Amy Pond as well. It was like the best place to put it.
It was a good place to put it. Yeah.
I do wonder how they could possibly bring her into more things, though, in the future, possibly. Caitlin Blackwood.
I just hope that they don't get too trigger happy and put her in everything, because then it's just going to fuck everything over.
Well, no, because the year would be 2005. Because that's weird when you think about it as well. 11th Hour took place in 2008, which was technically, because of Russell's timeline, the same time as Martha Jones.
Yeah.
That's what's weird, is that possibly this story took place in the year gap that they disappeared. No, Doctor and Rose. It's a good place to put it. Good place to put it. But
timey-wimey.
But overall, I think it was a really, really good box set. I always enjoy the 8th of March ones.
I'll say this though, when I've compared it to, obviously I haven't listened to the 4th Doctor story yet. I've only listened to the one. But when I can, and it might be because obviously the Pat Gang were in the first one, obviously. But for me, this has been the weakest one out of the three.
I agree.
Yeah. It's good, but out of all the 8th of Marches, the first is my favourite.
Well, it's because I feel like it's still the same length as the other box sets, but the other ones were all 3 1-hour episodes, and this is obviously a 4-part, which equates to 2 hours, and then a 1-hour one. So it's basically 2 stories.
Like a little side note.
Yeah, but it's like, I know that they, like, because I listened to the behind the scenes for it, they had it planned for quite a while that they wanted to do the Emmy Pond one, but they didn't want to just do any other box set. They wanted to do it for International Women's Day. I think with the second one, they went all out on it. It was a really good follow-up. Well, I'm looking at it now. You had Michelle Ryan back as Christina. You had Lola Ward as Romana, Georgia Tennant, Jenny, Jo Jones, Rani. You had Rani introduction, which will, of course, next month we're having the Rani box set as well.
Yeah, the Madaman,
Yeah. And then, I can't remember her name. The unit scientist from the Series 9 opener. She was, I think, now that I think about it, she was in the Cube one as one of the people researching the cubes, and then she was in the
Oh
Series 9
yeah.
and then
Oh,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
in the Series 9 opener going, why is Missy's head coming out of the screen? All this sort of stuff. I think they probably got planned another one, but I've been wondering myself about whether or not to do like a little 8th of March thing. Because I make a post.
Ideas.
Yeah, but like I do try and gather as many headshots as I can for posts on the Instagram, and I was thinking there's probably a lot of stories that you could do with this, like, you know, just bring back Julia one last time.
It's just an excuse to bring back Julia.
Yeah, but like it's also a really good, unique way of bringing characters together.
True.
You've got Missy and Amy, and then obviously we've also bring back classic characters like Joe Jones, who's been a Sarah Jane, meeting meeting Rani, and
Ronnie.
Yeah, but then you've also got like the Doctor's daughter, Jenny, Lady Christina, and Romana. It's just like, there's so many options there, and to celebrate the characters as well, and to also show the differences between them as well, because I think sometimes people think they're just going to be one. People sometimes think the companions are just one note things.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But it really highlights the differences as well, and in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, let me just quickly check if there's any honourable mentions I had. I've been really slow at catching up on listing things, for being completely honest.
It's all good.
Admittedly, I did really like the last Torchwood release, which was the last love song of Susie Costello.
From Big Finish Productions, Torchwood, the last love song of Susie Costello.
Cersei just appeared out of the sea 40 years ago in a volcanic explosion. An entire island completely untouched by human interference.
Fancy giving me a look round? What's down there? Under the water?
Organism size estimated at 200 feet in length.
Can we dive? Can we outrun it?
Contact in 5, 4...
Turn everything off! Now!
Lifeform identified as Susie Costello, human.
Someone brought me here. I'm stranded. I'm going to die. I'm going to die in a bottomless, sodding ocean and no one will even know.
What's your name?
Oh, this is just perfect.
What's your name?
Susie Costello.
Susie Costello? Shut up.
Excuse me?
Do you want to die?
No.
Then help me. Susie.
Big Finish.
They don't really have many Susie stories for Torchwood, and this one came out alongside Valentine's Day, but it was really good at showing a more vulnerable side of the character, because Susie's always been, the only really times we see Susie in the show is when she's just kind of conspiring, and but in this one she gets trapped on a ship, an underwater ship. An alien spaceship just crashed into the ocean and sunk, and she's gone down to see them, and there's just one guy there, and her suit's damaged and she needs to fix it, so she's spending a few days with this guy, and he just seems like to be the perfect guy, and she becomes quite vulnerable, and it's just a very sweet story. It's just quite nice, because like, with Susie, she's not really ever showing emotions. The only problem is obviously it doesn't go right, and it just enforces her view on not having emotions, which is how she ends up being the person she is. Sadly.
Puts her back, yeah.
But yes, have you listened to any Big Finish that you want to mention?
Remember, my brain is such a fog. I can't actually remember the last Big Finish I listened to, other than 8th of March.
Have you listened to Class?
That's bad, isn't it?
The Class audio.
No,
oh,
I have not.
It's been months.
I know.
It has been months now.
I know.
I want to talk to you about it. I think I just
it's on my to-do.
I think I've got about 50 movies on my to-do list now. A load of different movies, a load of different TV shows. That's the thing, I'm awful at catching up on TV shows now.
Yeah, no, the last one I listened to was bloody Unit Nemesis.
Oh, God. Well, Kate Stewart and Osgood are good, isn't it? And
Yeah, it's
yes,
unit. It's like my guilty pleasure.
staying on
But
theme.
no, it's purely because I've been so bloody busy with
Mm.
TT stuff and writing our own stuff. I haven't really had the chance to listen to anything else. And that came out. When did that come out? That came out
I'm
in
looking
November.
at it now. November, yeah.
Blimey. Yeah, that was the last thing I listened to properly. I'll say this though, and they've released, and I've got to talk about it because it's Pack Gang. They've just said it's coming out in October.
Yeah.
Abby is very happy because that's my birthday as well, so it's like his little birthday gift.
Yeah, we'll probably bring you back to this segment to talk about it.
Just leave me to it. I'll go 2 hours of Abby just bigging up the Pack Gang.
Oh, do you know what would be the highlight for you though?
What?
If they've got, I don't know why. I have a feeling. I don't know why. I have this inkling that somehow there's going to be a line. They don't have to go there. There can just be a line where they go Match Factory.
Oh, 100%. They have had those lines before. But I now, because me and some of the other people who were in the TT Pack Gang stuff, we were decorating here and we were listening to it. We were listening to the heritage box sets when we were here. And there's little lines and you think, like, was that done like if we deliberately put that in as a reference? I don't know. It's just kind of happened. It's quite nice when that happens though.
It's one of those.
I know for a fact though.
Mm.
I know for a fact this is why in my head now, like the TT Pack Gang continuity is completely separate from Big Finish because I know this is going to come out and they're going to completely mess up my continuity.
I'll be trying to find. The thing is, though, with me, I can always try and find links. I'm like, okay, well, they've said that it goes down this route, but it's because of here that they went there.
Yeah, no, I've done that. I do that a lot of the time. It's like the whole Fifth Doctor stuff with Nyssa and Tegan. I was that one person that sat down and was like, right, so there's this audio, and in this audio, they went off with the Doctor, but in an alternative timeline, they didn't. They stayed. Just so I could have that, because obviously they'd done that Goodbye Sarah Jane thing. And they said that Nyssa was living with, Tegan was living with her partner in Australia. And I'm like, there was an audio called Butcher of Brisbane. So in one of my headcanons, they didn't go with the Doctor, they just stayed behind. And I'm like, I sorted it. I sorted out your canon, girls. That's how it works.
Well, in that case, I think that's all the discussions, isn't it?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Thank you very much for discussing. And yes, everybody go and listen to the audios at TT Productions 23.
Yay!
And I think actually this podcast will come out on the same day as the first episode of Series 3 of the Queer Doctor Adventures. So go and watch that. But anyway, thank you all for listening, and I shall return to future me and Eamon to conclude. And welcome back to the podcast. You've made it all the way to the end of the podcast, everyone. Congratulations. And as have we, Eamon.
Congratulations. Mum, if you're still there. Hi. You won't be. Yes, we made it.
We have made it here. We don't really talk about it all that often, but we talk about the beginning of the podcast, what we have done for the month, but we never really talk about what we want to do for the rest of the month, because therefore we can kind of like give ourselves maybe little goals or just, have nice little conversations. You know what I mean? Like, for example, where are we going to be by next month with Overton Audios? The Henry Woodman volume would have actually not necessarily finished by the time that and record the next one. I think Henry Woodman, the Multiverse, will still be coming out, but we'll probably be talking about Supers Volume 2, which is coming out in May. So this one's for April, so of course we'll be talking about Supers then. And then I don't know, we'll see what comes out of Big Finish as well that we can discuss. George hasn't been available this month due to some personal issues he's had.
It'll be the Rani box set.
What?
Rani Chandra. Rani takes on the world.
That's true.
That comes on April 20th.
Yeah, that's a bit risky for me, expecting me to be able to, me and my busy schedule, to listen to that on time. I literally had to pause everything I was doing.
I'm very excited for that one.
I am as well, admittedly. I am very much excited for that one too. Have you heard the trailer for it?
Yes. Me and Isaac listened to it on call the other day, while you were slumberous in the distance.
Oh, Slumberous in the
It's really good,
Distance.
yeah.
Indeed, very good.
Yes.
I like the music and just generally how it sounds. Gives me good
Yeah,
vibes.
no, I'm very excited for it. I heard Clyde, and I got very happy.
Yeah,
I like
fair.
Clyde and I like Ronnie and I like Geeta. Geeta's back.
Oh.
Geeta's.
Oh dear. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to have my work schedule balance out a bit more, and thus I can actually make things properly again. I've got a lot of stuff I can edit. I just need to find the time to do it. I'm hoping I can find some time over this weekend to have some time to myself. So we'll see. We will see. And of course, thank you to all of our Patreons: Anya Coyle, Peter Scott, TT Productions 23, Chelsea Lagan, Delta Effects, and Joe Eddings. So, shall we say a fond farewell to everyone listening to the podcast, sir?
I think we should.
Yes, indeed. Well then, farewell, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ah!